Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and let's get ready for EJ Boxing Live.
How you doing, fight fans? It's EJ Boxing Live here, and we finally come to number one. Boxing's legit badasses. So coming in at number one, Boston Tar Baby, Sam Langford. So yeah, man, buckle up your seats. Hope you guys enjoy. Listen, this guy is one of the baddest guys. A lot of guys in boxing around the time, they reckon that this guy is the number one bad guy, the most avoided guy in boxing. And so you check out this little video here. The narrator is Boxing Beats and Rhymes, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll catch you at the end. Peace.
Sam Langford, the Boston Terror, or better yet, the Boston Tar Baby, stood at 5'6.5". He fought from the years 1902 till 1926. He fought for the world welterweight title by tackling the infamous Barbados demon Joe Walcott. Not Jersey Joe, won the heavyweight title. This is the welterweight champion, a formidable fighter himself. Now, it's agreed by most that Langford won the decision, but in those days the newspapers often scored fights and it was rendered a draw. Sam KO'd James Tiger Smith in 1907 for the world middleweight title. Racism prevented Sam and a list of other black heavyweights from competing for the world heavyweight championship. So the colored heavyweight title was birthed, which Sam won by knocking out Harry Wills. The color bar led to Sam, Jeannette, Sam McVea, Wills, Peter Jackson, and Jack Johnson having to fight each other multiple times just to earn a living from their profession. Sam lost the color title to Jack Johnson on points over 15 rounds. He eventually retired in 1926, losing in one round to Brad Simmons, and by this time, he was 43 years of age. To further expound his myth, legend, and brilliance, consider that we attribute arrogance and genius and cockiness in the ring to Muhammad Ali, Roberto Duran, talking to and mocking their opponents while beating them down. Well, we see traits of this later in Ray Leonard, Roy Jones, Nassim Hamed, and Mayweather. But what I'm going to do for you now is play you this piece of audio by Burt Sugar, just to show you how nice Sam was with his hands and his mouth.
He could call a round better than Ali. One time he comes out for a round in England, I don't know if it's second or third, and he touches gloves, and the opponent says, "What are you touching gloves for? This isn't the last round." He said, "For you it is."
Then proceeded to KO Flynn in the same round. That's serious shit, man. Sadly, he left the game penniless and blind, stranded in the Harlem streets. He actually fought the last bout against Brad Simmons, legally blind. If he was alive today, he'd make a fortune. He barely would have made cruiserweight. The highest he's recording at weighing at times is over 180 pounds. Some rank Sam as perhaps the greatest heavyweight or just greatest fighter anyway of all time. He had his own patented moves. The slap block. He was the best at barring on display, which is using the forearm to push down your opponent's punches. Sam is not being spoken about here because I'm nostalgic, because I saw some black and white films and I'm trying to prove myself as a historian that I know some old names, even though they was rudimentary in their style and they was really basically just caveman fighters. Sam was doing feints like just as good or better than Mayweather, just as good as James Toney, Roy Jones, Ali, Leonard. Full-blown feint. He'd feint 2-3 times, one move, and be in punching range. And he wasn't throwing one shot at a time like you see a lot of the old fighters. No. Sam would throw combinations. And with that great physique, he had extraordinary punching power. Sam would knock out full-blown, good heavyweights, just as easy as he'd knock out welterweights. Sam's said by many to be the best heavyweight of all time, or perhaps the best fighter anyway of all time. He's that good. And that's why he's on the list. Sam Langford, ladies and gentlemen.
Sam Langford would be forced to box in the shadows with little hope for a title shot.
Sam Langford was possibly just possibly the greatest fighter who ever lived. He was a man who weighed anywhere from 145 to 160 pounds, and within a short time, very few heavyweights would risk their undefeated record or risk the title against him.
Chasing white fighters to get a match, Langford sometimes had to submit to a fix, even in a non-title bout. Such was the case in 1910 when he faced middleweight champion Stanley Ketchel.
Langford was told not to hurt Stanley Ketchel, and Ketchel, midway through the fight, decided to try and knock out Sam Langford. Langford, in the course of defending himself, just brutalized Stanley Ketchel, but held back from knocking him out.
The fight was ruled a no decision, and despite Langford's cooperation, he never got a chance to fight for Ketchel's crown. Instead, Langford fought other black boxers over and over. 10 times each against Sam McVea and Jeannette. 18 times he fought Harry Wills, who had become a contender in 1915, or for Wills's longtime rival, Sam Langford.
In fact, Sam Langford, half blind, wants a fight, goes to see Jack Dempsey and Doc Kearns. And Doc Kearns says, Sam, we really were looking for somebody easier. He was that good, even late in life.
Sam Langford never did get the title shot he had coveted during his 24-year career. In retirement, he went totally blind, and efforts were made to restore his sight.
Well, Sam, tell me, how long have you been ill? I've been ill for the last 5 years. I tell you, boys, it's great to be able to see again. When you can get out and look at the birds, and the young birds going by.
Eventually, he disappeared, and he was found in the early 50s, half-starved, living in a cellar in Boston. And they interviewed him, and Langford was an unusual man. He was never bitter. He said, well, I've got my guitar, I've got my memories, I'm okay.
That's why he's number one. Sam Langford, man, definitely number one on all the wars he had. Jeannette, Harry Wills, and all the guys there. And also, when Jack Dempsey was the champion, you know, Jack Dempsey beat Jeff Willard, and Jeff Willard beat Jack Johnson, and Jack Johnson beat what's his name, Thingy Burns, and so on and so on and so on. Yeah, Tommy Burns. Yeah, so on. Back in the days, yeah, like so Jack Dempsey at the time was looking for an opponent, and you know they were milling around which kind of guys they were gonna face, yeah. And Sam Langford approached Jack Dempsey, who was the champion at the time. Said, well, he was with his manager at the time. I think that was the Tex Rickard, the promoter and the manager of Jack Dempsey. Well, they say the promoter said, yeah, I'd like to fight him. And this time, yeah, you gotta remember, Sam Langford, like, you know, blind in one eye. You know what I'm saying? He ain't where he was before, but definitely a name, right? And this is like way up in age. And this was Tex Rickard said, they said we was actually looking for an easier opponent. That's how good he was, is that they wouldn't even want to put him in with Jack Dempsey was in his prime, and Sam Langford was out of his prime. He was that vicious. You can see by the highlights, yeah, he was giving up mad weight, but he just knew how to handle himself. He's got very long arms, you know what I'm saying, very long arms, knew how to fight. And a lot of guys used to fought one style of fight, used to just walk in with their chins up in the air. And Sam was a good master boxer, knew how to, and he was strong enough to land, and he could hurt you really bad. Came up from lightweight, you know, against all the great fighters, Joe Gans, Tiger Flowers, you know what I'm saying, like all these guys here, all the guys there he's fighting, all the guys at the weight. Remember, it was only 7 weight class at the time, so he definitely deserves to be number one. And you guys, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the list. It took me a while to put it together. Yeah, man, you can check out the playlist I've got. I'll put that in the description box, man. Hope you guys enjoyed the list. And you can see by this picture here with him and Joe Louis as a future champion, how much he was revered even after his career. And you know what I'm saying, he obviously put on weight and that, but he was a man that was very respected in the early 1900s, 1800s back in the days, so let's say 1900s back in the days. And he definitely is one of the boxing's legit badasses, and he definitely deserves to be at number one. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Talking about a gang, ain't no gang, this is real shit. Uptown, really take you on a real trip. Talking about a gang, ain't no gang, this is real shit. Uptown, really take you on a real trip.
take you on a field trip. My whole area's filled with cats who will kill for the paper. That's real shit. Shit jump real quick. Shots flash, your life flash. The fast life got a price tag. That young cat, he flew by in a nice Jag, a kingpin, but got the face of a nice lad. The mice mad, the rats hating, they call cops. Price on their head from a poppy who calls shots. Small blocks with street soldiers and Range Rovers, and every one of them plan is taking the game over. What came over, our mind state. It's all about the Benjamins. That's what's boosting the crime rate. My prime date was a dime, but 5 years down the line, the street got her. Drove her right out of mine. Now she's known for copping dimes and giving them sloppy top to 5-0. Think she be dropping dimes.
Talking about a game, ain't no game, this is real shit. Uptown North Philly, take you on a field trip. Understand. Talking about a game, ain't no game, this is real shit. Uptown North Philly, take you on a field trip.
Street wars, they never end, and nobody never win. There's very few veterans. Niggas think they ballin', they peddlin'. The low key is the clever men. Smart ones hit it and quit it. The misguided, they settle in. Most cops more crooked than a letter S. The number man, they book it and they never stress. Tabletops with bootlegs and fake J's. Niggas hit up a scepter bus with AKs. Center city full of millionaires and hobos. Niggas starving but still rocking polos. Big beards, low cuts with waves spinning. White tees, pear trees, fresh denim. Cops plan on arresting them. Take them down, question them. That's they little way of testing them. Somebody dead from a bad deal. Take you on a field trip. Ain't no game, you can see it's mad real.
Talking about a game, ain't no game, this is real shit. Uptown North